Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of the Chat Show with me, your host Leo. Just a couple little bit words of warning, a little bit of heads up about today's episode. I interview the absolutely amazing lead singer of hardcore band Walls of Jericho, Candice, today. And obviously, she is in America and I am in England. So we had a designated time and we did run a little bit over. So the last portion of this interview, the sound will be slightly distorted as she goes on to a hands-free in her car as she runs around to do her daily life. Hopefully you still absolutely love the show. So without further ado, I give you this week's episode of Lifting with Leo, the chat show. Lifting with Leo, the chat show.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh my God,
How you
look
doing?
at you. You look like such
How you doing?
like you're by the beach with like a mermaid.
I'm a mermaid. Yeah, I just washed my hair for the first time in weeks. So just joking.
Oh my God, you look so beautiful. So fresh. I
Thanks.
wasn't ready for that.
No.
Not that I was expecting like a monster, but just like you look
Awesome,
like
right?
flowers and like a little skirt, and I'm like, where are you living right now? It looks like a heat wave.
I know, right? I'm up on our balcony right now. So nice.
That is beautiful.
On the second floor. All right. So, what do you want to talk about? What else do we want to talk about?
No, I got so excited when you're like, we're planning on, and I was like, oh my God, they're going back on tour. They're going back on tour. He's like,
we're not allowed. We can't do it till like next year. Isn't that insane? So, we were supposed to do Hellfest. We were signed on for Hellfest 2020. That didn't happen, right? So then they hit up all the bands again and kind of had them confirm for 2021 just to like keep the bill going, and then we got the notice not that long ago that they're not going to be doing those festivals this year either. So it'll be 2022. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, I feel really thankful at this moment that that's not the way I make a living. That, it's something I get to do on top of everything else, because it's been really hard for people, in bands, having to deal with all that, having no income with touring.
Okay, so let's segue onto this, because when I started this podcast, I've been really fortunate that like the majority, I was like, I want to interview really influential people, or apparently the new word that the kids are saying is iconic. So I want to interview people, and so many of them are women, which I thought was
that's fantastic.
Cool. And actually, I struggled to find men, which is ironic. But I was like, okay, like who in my mind is like the most iconic woman I know? And you always come to mind.
Oh, thanks.
Honestly, not to be like a weirdo, because like I've never actually Googled you, because I think that's really strange. Like, the concept of knowing someone before you know them is a very strange thing to me, because I'm like, why can't you just talk to people?
Yes, agreed.
The only thing I realized is that I don't know anybody else with your name, Candice. And I Googled your name, what it means. Do you know what your name means?
Someone once told me some type of queen.
Yeah, so it's a royal title from the Bible.
That's yes. Okay. Yes.
For the queen or queen mother in the ancient African kingdom of Kush.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was like,
I'll take it.
I was like,
or if you're Sandra Kuslin, my mother, you really, really like the show Murphy Brown.
Oh.
And the character Murphy Brown, and her name is Candice Bergen. So, but which is pretty amazing. It's a US show, and but she was a very like strong female character, and like boss and head of her, I think it was like a TV studio or something. I don't know. So she was a very strong role model in the 80s. And so I don't know. So I guess that's pretty cool. But
I did think that like it must be.
But I'll take royalty. That's cool.
Yeah, and I like, it must be more of like an American name, because I've never met an English person.
Oh, right. You're right. I don't think I've ever met anybody like outside of the States that has that. Yeah, you're right.
Either that, or I just maybe don't get out of my social circle enough.
I mean, there's that too. You're right.
I mean, I know
I've met a
I've talked to a
few.
lot of people, but I feel like I get to that point where I just end up forgetting names and refer to everyone as like babes. So
No, yeah.
it
I
could
mean,
be more
Candice
Candaces.
Babs.
I just don't
Well, so
know yours.
when, when I was younger, we moved a lot when I was younger. So we went to like different school districts. Like my elementary, I was in a few different elementary schools, and then middle school is in one, and high school I ended up being in one also. But I rarely ever ran into another Candace. I think it was like two other times in any of the schools was there another Candace. And then there's different spellings of my name. Like mine's finishes with ACE, and then there's so Ace, and then it's ICE, ice, which is pretty funny. So, and then I saw another one that was like ASE the other day online. I was like, oh, interesting. But most Candaces like to be referred to as Candy. Little fun fact that I learned. And so my teachers always asked me, would you like to be called Candy? And I was like, no. Even in like third grade, I was like, nah.
No thanks.
No thanks.
Oh, you'd be like, if I wanted to be a stripper, I would tell you.
Right.
My
I
mum.
know. I don't know. It's like, I'm not that sweet. I'm not that
Aw.
girl.
So to put into context, obviously, for like anyone that listening that is like, how are we even talking? You and I basically had our first date ever at wrestling, which I think is like the best way to ever really meet someone.
Oh yeah, you're right. Holy smokes in Ohio, correct? So
Yeah,
you did meet Katie. Katie was my training partner. She was who I lived with at that time.
like quite a small,
Yes.
jacked, and had a couple of kids.
She had no kids. That was Patty, and Patty's a little taller. But yeah, I think at that time when you came, my training partners were Laura, Amber, Patty, and Katie. So, but I lived with Katie at that time. Katie was at wrestling with me as well. It's always fine. But it's the women's pro-am that's coming up this weekend is actually Laura's pro-am
Yeah,
that she does. Yeah, every year. So
yeah, yeah.
that's exciting. Yes, but wrestling. That was the first time I've ever seen wrestling live.
Yeah, and that's the only time
Pretty
I've ever
intense.
been since. So
Yeah, same.
personally in my memory. Um,
Uh-huh.
and then obviously, so when we basically got asked to give you a ride to the wrestling,
Oh
uh,
yes.
you were
Yes.
introduced to me as a small, fiery redhead that is also the singer of. Have you heard of a band called Walls of Jericho? And that was my introduction to you, obviously. And then we came downstairs, and you were sitting there like, "Hi."
Hello. Thanks for the ride.
Which obviously is amazing, and like your band has been around for ages.
Yeah, 1998 was when we formed. Yeah, I'm like it's weird to even say that because you're saying everything's like 2000 and what, and it's 1998. Yep,
Yeah,
I
so
live back.
I mean, really, like, what, and like, obviously, going back to my whole, like, when I think of you, and I'm like, you're an iconic woman, is like, you are one of kind of like the founding women that has paved the way in terms of like female singers for hardcore bands.
Right. Yeah, there were a lot of there were some female singers at that time in like real metal bands, and
Mm.
then you obviously had female singers that were in punk rock bands, or like different types of genres. But when it came to hardcore itself, there was really no female fronted bands at that time. So I mean, I got a lot of shit for sure, but so I was just having this conversation with somebody how we formed. Is all of the guys in our band were in a different band. They did a European tour. They were having difficulties with the singer and decided that when they came back, they would form a new band. And they had been around for years and years. I'd always like grew up going to their shows, being that little kid that was like stage diving and singing along and like going crazy. But really, really young. I think I met them when I was 15. And I was 17 when I tried out for the band. And I thought there was no way I was getting the part. Like one of my friends had told me that he was the merch person on that tour and that he was going to be the singer of that band. And then another like legendary band to me, Tank, the singer, was trying out, and I was like, oh, there's no way I'm getting it. All these people are getting it. And then I got it. And then we just did everything. Those guys were so good to me. I was really talking about like, I was 17, just turning 18, not living at home at that time anymore. I had absolutely like no rules or boundaries for myself. And I was just like out of my mind, like going on tour, and I was like, I should really thank them for dealing with my ass. Like, you know, and just being, think about it, just being a young female at that time, surrounded by like usually 5 or 6 guys in a dirty van all of the time, no other female role models. Like, I was like, no wonder why it took me a long time to figure some shit out.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
So when you started everything like musically, like when were the guys like a lot older than you? Like when you kind of all got together? Like obviously you were saying they were more experienced than you were.
yeah, I had been in a band, but it was a local band that never did anything further than like Ohio. So like right down the street, basically. And um, I had just been with that band for probably like a few months, but everyone in the band was older to begin with. I mean, they had a lot of experience. And then a year and a half into it, our guitar player moved to California, so we got another person that was Chris Rawson, and he was close to my age, about a year older. So then I wasn't the baby anymore. But I'm really thankful for like the experience that they had. They were, a lot of bands were out playing shows, taking all their money and buying beer or doing all that kind of stuff with it. And they really like knew how to deal with things financially,
Oh, that's good.
for us. So I look back and I think how thankful I am
Yeah.
that they were, they had their heads on straight. Everyone in the band was straight edge until me, that when I was like 21. and I broke edge with my mom. and then they really had their hands full, but they made it through.
So did you come into the band and they already had kind of like stuff ready to go and you just kind of filled it, or did you come in and they kind of evolved with you? So like did you start having input into like all the songwriting, or was it?
Yeah, we definitely evolved together. They didn't have, because they were coming kind of fresh off of that other tour with the other band. They were just like starting things new. So, and then I definitely had like the run of my own show. I was the one writing the lyrics. I was the one like putting the vocal patterns to the music. Back in that time, we didn't really have any way of recording, like now there's like GarageBand and things that are easy to quickly record and so you can listen. So you were kind of doing everything in studio, like not no recording, but just like with each other in your practice space. And like, I think, God, how did I write music like that back then? Like, what a good memory I must have had to like remember the patterns that I put to this music, but that's why you practice all the time.
Mm.
Whereas like things are a little different now for music. But yeah, we evolved together, and we over the years have definitely grown together musically and personally. So
That's
I'm
nice.
really, yeah, it's been a fun ride.
So from when you first got together, how long? So like I said, like I didn't bother to Google stuff because I just like asking questions.
It's fine.
But like I guess like in terms of in the hardcore community, you guys are huge. Like
We did really well. Yeah, I'm not. I always feel weird with those words. I know we do a lot better overseas now because we aren't willing to tour as much as we did before.
mm,
Um, and it's really important in the US to stay prevalent. You need to be there. You need to be out. You need to be playing shows. I knew that when I wanted to start a family that I was going to have to take a step back from that.
mm,
And then we haven't done a lot of touring in the US because you're looking at committing to usually like 4 weeks at a time. And I, I couldn't even fathom being away that long,
mm.
for myself. So Europe has been incredible for us. Has definitely given us a way to like be sustainable as a band. We can go over there for a couple of weeks. Sometimes we can even go for a week and then come home and be fine, because
Yeah.
it's not about like making riches, making bucks, it's just being about, being able to be out and then come home and slightly pay your bills, um, so we did we've gotten a lot of really cool opportunities, doing Ozfest and doing Family Values and Mayhem. Oh, hold up. we got some big ass trucks going down the line right now. Sorry.
I can't hear them at all.
Oh, good. I was like, it was so loud.
I was like, nice. Maybe she got like a special delivery, and you're just like flowers.
Oh,
You're like,
oh no, hold on. Giant his truck was so loud. I was like, oh no. Yeah, so we've gotten a lot of really, really cool opportunities. But it was always about just doing what we wanted to do. I think about the weird opportunities that I've had just being in the band. You know, at one point I like went out to California to go try out for a TV show, you know, all because somebody had saw our band. At one point I went out to New York, got flown out to New York to try out for like the Mistresses of Metal. I don't know if you remember that show, you know, at another different point, I got flown out during Ozfest to go sing, try out to sing on a Megadeth song. Met Dave. Yeah, like I would think about the crazy experiences that I've had because of the band, you know, and just the fact that I got to like see the world, you know, traveling with the band. I never would have had those opportunities, you know. So it's been a crazy ride.
So at 17, were you just like, I want to be the singer of a band? Like, was that kind of like your MO, or like was it just kind of like, this band needs a singer, so I'm going to audition?
Oh,
and then
no. So, and I say the beginning of my 17th year, I like in the middle of it, I was at a practice space like all the time for this one band, Apathy, and they had two singers. And at one point, their two brothers. Tony left. I think he had to go to college or something. He like quit the band, and they're like, "Shit, we need another singer." And they're like, "You know all the words," and I was like, "Yeah, sure. Like, let's go. Like, I'd love to do this." I don't know why I never really thought about doing it, but it probably had to do with there not being other females, you know. And so I jumped in and I sang. A week later, I had a choir concert, or not even a week later, within that week. And I couldn't like sing a lick of anything because I had blown my voice out so hard singing in the hardcore band. And I had to kind of like make a decision because I loved singing, but I was like, I love this. I am passionate about this music. Like it gives me an outlet. It gives me somewhere to speak my truth. And so I was in Apathy for for about like less than a year. And then right before my 18th birthday is when Walls of Jericho was like looking for a singer. And so I was like, you know, I've been in this band with two singers because I was really nervous and I'm super introverted. So like I had a really hard time being in front of a crowd, and it was helpful to have another person there kind of deflecting. And but I was like kind of ready to just, you know, I absolutely loved Earth Mover and the people that were that created Walls of Jericho. And so I was like, I gotta try for this. I'd love to do this on my own and just like finally have the guts.
Do you still consider yourself an introvert? Because that is like hilarious to me.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So, I mean, I know like the pandemic was a very difficult time, and do not glorify any of it in any way. But like I had no issues being at home. Like, and not like I do very well in a very calm and controlled situation. And so I can, you know, you fake it till you make it, you know, like that's how it was on stage. I still don't do very well with like public speaking. But unless it's like not about me, you know, like so.
Crazy, because when you're on stage, it is like you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna sound like such a like hippie right now, but like your presence and like your aura is huge. It's like all you see is you.
Oh, thanks.
So it's funny. No. Obviously, like I know you, we've hung out before. It's like you are quite a quiet person.
Yes.
But then like you get on stage and it's just like, what just happened?
Right. I mean, that kind of music, like it's like it's allowed for, you know, that's what always drew me to it is just like, you know, some people use different types of method when they're in public to socialize, right? Like say like social drinkers, things like that. It's just something that allows you to put your inhibitions down and just be who you are. And that is something that that hardcore music did for me. You know, I could eventually just get on stage and just like you scream my head off and not worry about like any of the other stuff. You know? And, I remember we were in Europe for one of the very first times we went over there, and there was a giant festival. I think maybe we were in a tent and there was like 20,000 people. And we were so nervous because it was the first time we ever played in front of that many people ever. And I went out, and that was the least nervous I'd ever been on stage, because it wasn't like just about me. It was about all of these people there. It was about this energy that everyone was sort of creating, which, like, I always love more intimate, smaller shows. There's just it's a completely different setting, but I am way more nervous during those shows because I feel like everyone's looking at me. Like, it's like, like, or everyone's looking at us, and we're like, you don't want to feel like a puppet on a stage. You want to feel, you have to really get that. So that's why I moved, because I want people to move with me. So I'm not the only one there moving. Like, I will give you all of my energy to get you going with me, so that you are focused on your energy as well, not just mine. So
Wow.
true introvert right there. Like, here.
No, amazing. I love it. So
But
so once you guys got going, how long did it take you guys to kind of like blow up, so to speak?
I don't know. I don't feel like, I guess in my world, we never like blew up, like we always had these little hurdles to overcome when it came to our band, because we weren't very good at adapting to what others wanted of us, like we weren't very good at playing the games and like doing, what kind of was required of us to become bigger. When you get together with labels, they have expectations, and we have a very true hardcore mentality where we're like, you're not going to tell us what to do. Like, we're not, or if you do, we'll rebel against you. Like, so, but I would have to say, when things really started moving for us, in my eyes, was when we actually started touring all the time. To me, that was us like making it, like, where we could do that and be home so little that it was our total source of income. And when I say that, I mean, like, I was like 19 or 20, and like, I lived off like $1,000 a month. It wasn't, like, you had such small bills, it wasn't like anything. But that was, to me, was when we made it. I could like go and tour as a job. I think, and maybe that was 2003. Yeah, I was 23, 2003. We went over to Europe for the very first time. The shows over there were just insane. We hooked up with MAD booking. So that was the first time we had like a booking agent, like a real booking agent. So I was like, oh, damn, we made it. Like, in the terms of hardcore, like we made it. Where we get t-shirts printed, that kind of thing. But, and then I think it was 2006 was when we did Ozfest. So that was like a huge thing for us to be able to do something that big. And what's wonderful about it is we were on like the second stage with all these other bands that like we had grew up playing with, that were just like us. And so it was just like, it was like a fun camp. It was like a summer camp of bands that year. Hi. Oh, my little doggy's here.
Oh, I feel like so far everyone I've interviewed has dogs, and somewhere through it, I'm just like, right, let's talk about the dogs because that's the most.
Oh, yeah. So this is Bella. Her name is Bella, and she is a little corgi chihuahua mix, and she's a rescue. We got her in December, and oh my God, is she a love? Like, she just snuggles and sleeps with me every night.
Chihuahua.
Yeah, corgi chihuahua. So like, corgis were actually herded. They herded like cows and stuff. So they have like, they'll like nip at you. She doesn't really nip at us. That's what they're kind
So
of
my
known
friend
for.
just got a corgi during lockdown. She's about 9 months now.
Aw.
We've been looking at, because obviously, like, so corgis are bred predominantly in Wales, and obviously we're next to Wales.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's to Wales to pick up this corgi.
Oh.
And like, so now I'm hyper aware of corgis, but we've also started to notice all the crossbreeds of corgis.
Yeah.
And there are some really strange ones out there, but like ridiculously cute because they're so awkwardly proportioned.
They are. Yeah. They're just little beans, man. They're so like, she's so cute. She's all like, she's red.
Oh,
She got,
cute.
like, she's just a little ginger dog. She's getting more comfortable. So she comes to work with us every day.
Oh, nice.
And like, she'll walk around, she like kind of tucks her tail, she's nervous. And then now she's like, anybody enters, she's like right at him. And we're like, chill out. Like, what are you doing? Huh?
You take her to the gym with you?
Yeah, she comes with us every day.
And she's
Yep.
fine with like the noise and stuff like that?
Yeah, yep, no problem. She just follows me. In the beginning, she totally just followed me around like everywhere I went. So I work out and she'd come with me and it didn't bother her. And then now she's like that the gym is hers. That's like how she feels.
I mean, like typical woman. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, well, right. I've been here long enough. It's mine.
Yeah. Like, my God,
Wait.
move aside. Like double assistant managers in the house. Watch out. Here we come.
I know. So yeah, Murph's been it's really awesome that he allows, he's such a dog friendly place, and that, he has his dog there on Monday. So she's in the office with us during that time. But then she has usually the run of the gym.
My dog is too much of a diva to want to come to the gym now. He doesn't like the floor. He doesn't like that it's cold. He doesn't like that it's but he's like small, white, and fluffy. So it's pretty
Adorable.
You know what I mean? And so he just wants to be on his sofa now. And I'm like, wow, I've raised like a nightmare. I was like, all right.
Oh no. Yeah, that's so cute though.
Yeah, but he's an old man now, so I'm like, whatever, it's fine. I was like, I'll get to your age and I'll probably want to do the same thing. So
yeah, let him do it. He gets to run his life,
So
yeah, Bella is 5.
Did you ever did you ever get to these tours and see all these bands and just completely fangirl out and be like, oh my God, I'm here with these people?
You know what?
Or was it just like no big deal?
No, I've never really been somebody who did that. I guess I always viewed that, put them on my level. I just never put people on pedestals like that. There were a couple of bands that, I grew up like never was able to see in my teenage years. We played with Only Crime, and he had like an older band that I absolutely loved. And so when I saw Only Crime, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited to see them. So there's like if I'm trying to think, if one time we saw Slash, we were like in the catering room with Slash and just like, what? Like, how am I in this room with this hat? Like, how is this even happening? Bella. And then, like I said, I went and met Dave Mustaine to like try singing for the song, and he like fed me sushi. Like, he's like, you gotta try this. And I was like, this is my life right now. Like, this is super weird. Like, just and then like I said, that I had tried out for a show that it ended up not taking off, but Jada Pinkett Smith had came out to one of our shows. Well, I had met her on Ozfest when she was Wicked Wisdom. Is that what her band's name was?
Yeah, because she was in a metal band that like no one knew about.
Yes. So she was in the band, and I saw her on Ozfest because our friends were playing, and I started talking to her, and then she came out to one of our shows and it was like, you need to try out for this show that I'm putting together. And I was like, this is insane. Like, so I guess I just always found it super humorous to like meet these people that you just kind of think, are out of your your grasp, that you feel like you're never gonna like be in the same room with. But not as much like fangirled out about it, like I probably would like Tori Amos. I saw her live and I like fangirled out about her. And then like the singer, like I saw the Cranberries when I was younger, and that actually like set it off for me. I absolutely loved her and her energy on stage, and her cute little pixie cut, which I ended up doing too, because I was like, that's adorable. And then I really wanted to be that person on stage too, just in a different genre of music. I was like, I love her running around, her just like commanding everything and just really enjoying herself is what you could see, And then same with Tori Amos. She was just like so raw and herself. And I loved that too. Cause it's just like that vulnerability that you're not so willing to just give to people.
For sure.
On a daily basis.
So on those tours, I'm guessing, was there any other like female lead singers on these tours at that time, or was it just, did you literally walk in and it was just like dick fest? You're like, cool.
In the beginning, yes, absolutely. I always wish that we like went on tour with like some punk rock bands like Tilt, because I absolutely loved her. I would have fangirled out about her if I would have saw ever played a show with her. I think at one point, a few years into it, we played with this band called Crisis,
Okay.
and they were a metal band, just straight metal. And her name was Karen. And I thought that was pretty cool because I remember one of the first records I ever got, I went to like Sam Goody. It's like one of those record shops out here, and ordered an Earth Crisis record. And they misunderstood what I was saying and ordered me a Crisis record.
Huh.
And I put it on and I was like, what the hell? Like, this is pretty awesome that this is a female, but like, it just wasn't my kind of music at that time. Yeah. So it was neat to play with them a few years later. But mostly, yeah, especially in the beginning. We did play with the band Indecision, who had a female guitar player, Rachel. That was pretty awesome. So that happened pretty early on. But when it came to female singers, it wasn't till like much till later.
Did you
that
ever
happened.
feel like maybe you guys didn't progress as fast as you could have because you were a woman? Did you ever feel like it was like a thing for you, or?
No, not really. Because I feel like hardcore had a hard time progressing in itself, just because it wasn't, it's not super radio friendly. It's not super digestible. Most people just go, I don't understand what you're saying. I'm like, yeah. So I think hardcore in itself was meant to be like that, meant to not be something that got too big. There's always going to be an underground, and that's kind of like, I think where hardcore usually is. But we got a lot of different attention because I was a female. And of course, just like society does, they put you under a microscope and analyze everything you do and then compare you to everyone else. So that was something that was pretty difficult, is like, even when there was other females starting to play shows, they would always compare us to each other. So it wasn't, it just created a negative environment for us. Who was it? There was Logan. What was the band's name? In 2003, we played some shows with one of the female. Her name was Logan, and so that was the first time we got a tour with another female, which was awesome. And then we've toured with some other type of like Kitty, things like that, because I think Kitty was around too. They'd already been around, but like I said, they were not a hardcore band, they were a metal band. So Bella. So and then I would always get that like, oh, she sounds like a girl, which I was like so determined to like be able to do all of it. I wanted to sound just as low as the growling guys, just as high as the like punk rock screamers. And so I worked really hard at like changing the way my voice sounded, not to be liked more, but because they told me I couldn't, kind of, like, oh, if you think I can't, I will show you, that type of thing. And then they got a little bit of negative, like, you're just a gimmick. And I'm like, yeah, because there's so many females in hardcore that we're a gimmick. Yeah. So, and it just pushed me. It drove me to be a better version of myself and to be probably the person that I am on stage. Because I was like, I will show you I'll be better than all of you.
Yeah.
Like, because I care about this. Like, I'm not a gimmick. Like, I've been in hardcore for a long time and I have a lot to say.
I just want to take a quick second to tell you about a super cool new lifestyle brand called Gypsy Cartel. It is homegrown here in London, UK. It is female owned, designed, and run. It's a small little business, just your local little shop, It's all about art, fashion, photography. So if you're into anything kind of cool, kind of kitschy, this is the place for you. All the art can be bought directly from the artist themselves via the Instagram page. I was going to say Instagram app. It's an app, whatever. All of the clothing can be purchased online as well, safe and secure, so you don't have to worry about it being someone you don't know. I personally am a massive fan of the art, and I'm all about the kind of graffiti, like big, bold color lifestyle, having all that kind of stuff on super cool clothing as well. Just really like, something different, something like unique, and I'm really about that. So go check it out. It's at Gypsy X Cartel. That's GYSPY. It's the hardest thing to spell out. XCARTEL. That's at Gypsy Cartel. And let them know I sent you and say hi. Enjoy.
Do you have any is there any particular memories of like kind of the early stages that are just the most ridiculous story that you just every time you think of it, it makes you laugh and you're like, ha, 21. What a great time. Never doing that again.
Oh my gosh. Like, so in what context here are we talking about? Like
Context.
on stage?
Say
Like, on
whatever
tour?
comes to mind, whenever you're just like, so this one time on tour.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Um, okay. Well, hold on. I'm trying to think. This one's gonna take me a second.
So you're
Like,
saying that you were the only one that wasn't straight edge. The rest of the band was.
so yes, at one point I was the only one that wasn't straight edge. And then we eventually got like uh a tour manager or like a sound person, not sound person, like a merch person that came out with us that wasn't also. So it was definitely the like I don't drink anymore actually because it was just a in time of your life you're young that you get free alcohol all of the time like when you're with bands. And I would just be like, if I was one of those people that if I start drinking, I am cool to drink all night, like let's go, let's party, let's have fun. And when I stopped drinking, I had so many people say you were way more fun when you drank. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm an introvert and I think it helped me relax and have a good time. But I don't know, so many like so many times of just like fighting with the band to be like, let's stay, let's party. And then be like, yo, we gotta go. I'm like, no, just jump in so-and-so's car. And they're like, yeah, no, we don't trust that they're gonna get you to the next show. You can't just
Okay, so when how far into the band? Because I remember you saying to me once that you were always like super competitive and that the boys were always doing like bench and push-up competitions, right?
Oh yeah.
I know, I listen. I do remember.
Ah, yes. I think it was like, and that actually started in 2006 because started happening on Ozfest, I believe. Like someone had brought equipment with them and someone had like a barbell set and a bench. Someone brought kettlebells. So
On the
like
bus.
that was, huh?
Like on the tour bus.
Yeah. So they had put, it was a lot of bigger bands. So they had not on their buses, but with all the equipment, they were able to like load in actual like fitness equipment and stuff in there too. So I think that's what actually started it. We'd always done like push-ups and stuff on tour, but like that's what started the real weight training for all of us. I remember someone had a bench and I couldn't bench 95 pounds. And I was like so mad because I thought I could, not even that I should be able to, because that's not always, it was more of the like, no, I can do this. Like I want to do this. I want to be strong. And then I'd watch them all like deadlift like 300 pounds one day. And I was like, there's no way that I was going to be able to do that at that point. And so it just kind of started this journey for all of us. I think I remember coming home after that tour and our guitar player, Chris, knew this other guy who had been working out in his garage. So straight garage gym workout, but like not bro, like his name was Chris also, but it was very do you know Jim Jones? Of course
Not
you do.
personally.
Well, no, not personally, but like the whole,
Hmm.
yeah. So all of that, we were actually doing a lot of Jim Jones style workouts at that point. I think 300 had just come out. So we were just doing a lot of nothing that was like powerlifting because we weren't benching, we weren't back squatting, we were doing a lot of overhead pressing, but deadlifting, stuff like that. And it just started, I was really good at the conditioning stuff, probably from being on tour so much. But it was always the strength aspect of it that was really difficult for me. So of course I found it challenging. And so I started pushing myself towards that. And we went on a tour and we had been working out on tour and someone suggested to do the Bill Starr 5x5 powerlifting program. And I was like, what is this? And I remember being super intrigued because on his off days, he did a lot of it was like barbell complexes, which was super similar to what we had been doing, and then like 100 burpees afterwards. And I was like, oh, I do burpees, so I can do this shit. But what was really interesting for me is that I switched at that point to a pure powerlifting program. And I was working out 6 days a week before that, and then switched, I think, about 4 days a week. But it never got me that endorphin rush. And I actually became very depressed during that time when I first started powerlifting, not realizing that like for my mental sake, I needed to work out. I needed to also be doing some type of conditioning stuff. So it was like a couple years later that I reflected back on that. And then I keep that in mind for my athletes now when I train people, that like when they first come into it, to like make sure we get their conditioning up, and that like they're getting that. And like during the winter times and stuff like that for my girls, the powerlifting team, we a lot of times we'll do some circuit style stuff just to keep their mental health in check, because it's not always, you're not getting the same thing when you're lifting those weights. And it just depends on people's like rest periods and how they do it. But if you're not moving fast enough, you're purely going for strength, you probably won't get that same, release in your brain. Yeah. So it was interesting, but, then that started my journey. So even though, I became more serious with it, the guys were always lifting, but I remember the day that I text Chris and was like, yo, I lifted 335 pounds. Like I deadlifted that. What's your deadlift? And he was like, I haven't even touched that in forever. And I was like, yeah, like I just felt so good that I finally like, I don't know, reached a point that I knew I could get to, that I wanted for myself. Yeah. And I competed in powerlifting for a really long time. I same thing, just like hardcore. It was something I absolutely loved. This like raw power, and like, it's all about what you put into it, and then you're going to get out of it what you put into it. So it's like, and I absolutely just like love working hard, like my body, like working my body hard. I don't know, it's just, it's something that, even now, like if I'm not working out all the time, like I still like to work with my hands. I'm very physical, it's something about myself that I realized, but, I've had a really cool journey with that too. The guys were always accommodating. I usually had some meets going on or something I was getting ready for, and we'd be on tour and they'd bring equipment, or we would find gyms. Whenever we were in Europe, he would always put it on the rider, which was awesome. So that like I could still try to maintain or work towards what I was, whatever meet I had planned or something. Yeah. And so that was a really, really cool journey too. I got an elite raw total and a couple of, geared pro totals.
So when you started competing, like where at that point did you end up in Ohio at Conjugate? Although it's really
okay,
isn't it? So that's the wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Patsy was born. I had started my straight strength training journey, the year before she was born. So like 2011, I believe that beginning of that year, or just like the end of 2010, I had started kind of powerlifting, and then I got pregnant. So I did actually continue to bench, like incline bench. I tried box squatting a little bit, some sumo deadlifting, a lot of pull-ups, believe it or not. I don't even know how I can do it. And then, once I had her, I waited the appropriate amount of time and I started training. And within 3 months, I did my first powerlifting meet. And then from there on, my second meet was the women's pro-am a few months after that. And I was hooked. Laura and Shane were so nice to me. And, I absolutely loved that she was just like my height, like she's this little strong female, and she was so kind. And, so I started talking with her, and I'd been training out here in Boston. And I mean, the facility is now the facility I work at, that I was training at, is absolutely incredible. And it has all of the things that you need. But, I believe that winter we went to visit Katie in Michigan, and all of us drove up and spent a week in Ohio with Patsy, and started training out of there, like training with them there. And then I continued to do her programming when I went back to Boston. But, it's very difficult with schedules. I'm very drawn towards like stronger women, and I wanted that motivation, and it's not as easy to get when you're with men who are just like twice your size. You really feel like there's no comparison there, and there's not like good, motivation. Like, good competitive nature, you know, like I'm not going to compete against the men, you know, like that's not what I'm doing. Like I wanted another female, not just to compete with, but to grow with. And I had a couple of girls that I was training with, and then life changed for them and they weren't powerlifting anymore. And we just were like, you know, that it's an absolute incredible opportunity. Katie's thinking about moving to Michigan, moving to Ohio. And it was just Laura and Amber at that point. And that was it. We just made a decision. And a few months later, we moved to Ohio. And, you know, I just really wanted to train around super strong women, you know, and I was definitely the weakest of the bunch. And it drove me to be stronger. And the environment was something that like, I'll never touch again.
Yeah.
You know, I'll never find you know, not only because I'm not competing in powerlifting anymore, but just that intimacy and camaraderie that we all had, and just that purpose. Like we were all just so determined to like be the best versions of ourselves within the sport. And I had never played a sport growing up. Like I was a cheerleader for like half a second when I was in 7th grade. I tried out for like I was like a runner for probably like 2 weeks, like no shit. Like I just quit. I was like, I'm not good at this. I just never did. And but when I stepped on that platform for the very first time, I was so excited to be a part of something like that, you know. And it wasn't just about competing with other people, but just like competing with yourself, and seeing what you could do, you know. So I'm gonna take you in my car with me, okay? Coming with me.
Like when I went to that gym, the environment itself, like you walk in and you just automatically feel like you need to lift more.
Yes, right. Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. Yeah. An environment is like everything. Half of, you know, and that, like I said, that gym has also needed that female aspect of it, you know.
For sure.
There's just something different about being able to lift with other women, other strong women.
For sure. And I think the best thing is that in the Walls of Jericho, like last video you guys released, which now I literally listened to the other day because I love that song, and now I've forgotten the name because I'm forgetting everything.
I forget everything.
Lockdown brain. From your last album that you did, the video, and it was just literally the whole video was you just powerlifting, like flipping a tire and like deadlifting, and I was just like,
oh yeah, Reign Supreme.
This one, yeah.
Yeah, Reign Supreme. I'd actually at that point that was my transition from in like months, and it was like so difficult for me to lift 225, which is the 2 plates on the bar. I remember thinking, oh, how far I've fallen. But I had like not training. I had done my last competition in Ohio was about like a month after my brother passed, and it was just like, you know, I think I got 5-pound PRs on everything, and it was a big, you know, all of it's always a big deal to finish off with those ladies and then move back. And I was just doing multiple jobs, but yeah, that video actually is what got me back into training, because I was like, this is complete bullshit. Like, where am I at? Like, I can't be here. I know I'm better than this. And so I started training again, and I got all my numbers back up to where I was before, you know, within like a year and a half, and did about 2 more meets. One was Rita West's meet in New York, and then another one at RPS here in Massachusetts. But then not long after, let's see, that June, we did a U.S. tour. It was our first U.S. tour in like 10 freaking years. It was insane. 2 weeks. It was awesome. All like super small club shows. I came home and I herniated like 3 discs in my neck. So it was like, it was pretty insane. I've never felt that kind of, I've never felt nerve pain to begin with, but I never experienced that kind of pain in my life. And it was pretty nuts. And that kind of like shut things down for now, forever. But, but like the first year that all I could do was,
like bodybuilding style stuff. So I learned a lot about training. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about like corrective training and issues and longevity, you know. So I guarantee, even though like my neurologist was just like, yeah, so it's just bad posture and genetics. Oh, and then also he said something about how I was a smoker in my early 20s. And I was like, dude, it has nothing to do with the fact that I've banged my head for 20 freaking years and like lift 400 something pounds. But so that has taken me on a new fitness journey for myself. Always really
Hopefully we'll come back. Hang on a second. If you can hear me, we're cutting up a bit.
Something you really like. It's been honest. And whenever I do. Oh, hello.
Oh, hi. Sorry, you cut out a little bit there.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's a little bit crazy. I think I'm on your speakerphone, right, in the car.
You are. Hold on one second. I just gotta get you off. I don't know how to do that. Get you off my speakerphone. Hold on. It always happens. It kicks me to it, and I don't know. I'm like, how do we get you out? Okay. Active phone call. Oh, well, let me get out. Okay. Does it sound really crazy that I'm on speakerphone?
A little bit, but it's fine. We can make it work.
Sorry about that. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So is it okay?
Yeah, we'll make it work. Don't worry. You're a woman in motion. It's fine.
I'm sorry. I gotta go pick up Ashley from school.
That's okay. Well, listen, I realized that obviously, like, you've got so much stuff going on, and I feel like I could literally talk to you forever and ever and ever. But I mean, we've already been going for an hour, so bless you for taking so much time to speak to me.
No, of course.
So let's just finish. What was your best like bench, squat, and deadlift, raw, and then geared?
So my best in competition, which is really in powerlifting what matters, what counts, is my 203 was my best bench, 270 was my best squat, and 335 was my best deadlift raw. And then I switched and I went to gear, and my best squat was 420, best bench was 280, and my best deadlift was 440. And I never retested any of my raw stuff during that time. I really kind of wish I would have, because it was like a couple of years of being in gear. But yeah, it was a 132 weight class, trying to be bigger. Trying to be more muscular.
Just say that that's in pounds, not in kilos, just in case anyone's like, what?
Oh yes, in pounds. Yeah, sorry, I don't know. Okay, I don't know the kilos.
That's okay.
I have to do the math. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it was. Now we started doing our training a little more geared towards like alpinism. Like, been reading a book. One of actually the Jim Nones guys, part of it, called The New Alpinism.
Okay.
And it's just, today I got to do one of the fitness tests, which is you take a box that's like at your halfway shin level. So mine was like a 12-inch box. You put 20% of your body weight in a backpack,
Okay.
and then you do 1,000 feet on the box. So to calculate and determine how many steps you have to do, how many step-ups you have to do, you basically take the 12,000 and divide it by 12 inches, the height of the box. So I had to do 1,000 step-ups today for my fitness challenge. It was absolutely insane. Completely different, than powerlifting for me, but another different type of challenge. We're trying to do the Great Traverse like in the Adirondacks this year. So it's like the third hardest day hike in the U.S. It's like 22 miles and a ton of elevation. So just trying to get myself like ready for that. And then,
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a different type of journey now, but
So basically,
doing a heck load for cardio.
So basically, what you're saying is that you're just really hooked on like challenges, pushing
I
yourself.
think I think so. I'm like, oh, getting strong, I can do that now. I'm like, oh, now let's see if I can go climb a really big mountain with weight on my back, you know. But it's been super fun. We went and did one of our first winter hikes, did a few mountains for some 4,000ers in New Hampshire, and did my first overnight winter camping. So that was pretty neat. And then we're going to go possibly do Mount Washington in a couple of weeks. The weather up there is very insane. So, it mimics a lot of the other crazy mountains around the world. So just, different challenges, It's hard not to have a goal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you feel that way, but it really is. It's hard not to have, with powerlifting, you always had a goal, 5-pound PR. And that's just not really something that, being healthy and being able to do other things in my life just matter a bit more to me than, so I still strength train 4 days a week, but I also do a lot more cardio, which, is boring as shit, but, but it's nice to have a different goal.
Definitely. Oh, well, listen, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me. When I finally can leave this country, I'm coming to visit because I want to see Murph as well.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that place. And you have to let me know. I mean, hopefully you'll put it on your social media and stuff if you guys come on tour anywhere.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, I'll let you know. Yeah.
Anywhere in Europe. At this point, I will go anywhere.
I totally understand.
Yeah. So I would love to come and see you guys again. And you always know that you have a merch person if you ever need one for your Europe leg.
Thank you. It's a very, very, very adorable merch person. Yes.
Always. I'm very good with money. I like to remind you, my family's Jewish, so we're excellent with money.
Oh my goodness.
I will make you profits every night. Do a little upsell on the t-shirts.
Perfect. All right, you're in.
Right, this is where we're going. I can look after Pats at the same time. Be like, there you go gang on tour.
Perfect. Everything we're hoping for. Thank you.
I mean, literally, I'm just gonna live the rest of your life through me now. I'm just gonna be right. Just gonna tag along towards the Jericho and be like, hi guys.
You'd make it so much more fun. I'm fine.
Just sit there the whole time and be like, this is so exciting. We could be on tour. And I'd be like, oh my God, look at all these people. To be fair, I think now I'm not really super into any new bands, but I'm still super into old bands, and I guess everyone in older bands is also now older. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still get excited. I'd be like, oh my God, can you imagine if I met Fred Durst? And I was like, no one knows who he is anymore.
Right.
Not to be hard, right?
Right. No, yeah.
Oh my God, Limp Bizkit. And I was like, no one in their 20s listens to Limp Bizkit anymore. That is vintage TV now.
It is. Who's the band that does Let the Bodies Hit the Floor?
Yeah, I know. Drowning Pool.
Yes. So we played a show with them in South America, and the singer came and said, hey, would you want to come out and sing this song with me? And I was like, no. I'm sorry. I was like, I can't. Is that true? I was just joking, but no. You guys are old. We're all old. I can't.
I know, it's bad, isn't it? I'm just oh. But now I'm trying to get into newer bands. I started watching that TV show on Amazon, the Paradise City.
Oh, okay, yeah. Right.
It's basically daytime TV drama, but with metal bands and Satan. Literally, that should be the description of it. And it's not good, but at the same time, it's so good that it's bad.
Yeah, and you're hooked. That's it. I haven't seen it. Thank you for letting me know that I shouldn't watch it.
No, you should definitely watch it. You should watch it.
I can't get sucked into another fucking. I can't get sucked into another thing.
There's only 7 episodes. There's only 7 episodes, so you can power through it. It's free on
That's fair.
Amazon. And like you
Okay.
might watch it and be like, this is what my touring life was like. I remember when I also sold my soul to Satan.
Pretty sure that happened immediately, right? Yeah.
All right, my love. Well, listen, I'm gonna let you go and pick up Patsy. I hopefully will see you at some point in the next 2 years.
No, I hope so too. All right. Well, if you listen back to this and you're like, all right, well, that was some of that was dumb, or you need more other stuff, just let me know.
I mean, I could talk to you for hours and hours about everything, but we can do multiples. We can do
I know. I was like, I feel like we barely talked about training, which is fine. I guess I just think of you like, oh yeah, of course we're gonna talk about the band. I didn't even think about that. It's so funny.
No, I want to talk about is band stuff anyway. It's way more exciting.
It is. It's true.
All right, my love. Well, have a wonderful day.
Okay, you too.
I will see you
I
soon.
really enjoyed this. I'll see you soon.
Glad.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much to my wonderful guest Candice for taking the time to speak with me. It's been absolutely amazing. I hope you guys love this interview. I'm super sorry I've been super tardy with all of my podcasting. As you can tell, we have now come out of lockdown as things are taking a little bit longer. I've still got some amazing interviews to come for all of you guys, so stay tuned. And then I will probably be taking a little bit of a break to come back with series 2. Remember, if you're loving it, stop by my Instagram page at @LatsLikeLeo. Let me know what you thought. Also on the YouTube, it's just called Lifting with Leo, the Chatshow. And check out our sponsors, Gypsy Cartel, for any super cool art and fashion. Love you all, guys. Have a great day. Bye.